Pulsar Helium has joined the list of pure-play helium explorers, choosing to list on the AIM market, where its ticker is PLSR. It's a primary helium exploration and development company, also listed in Canada and in the USA. Its flagship Topaz project in Minnesota flowed North America's highest concentration of helium at 14.5%. And just so you know, commercially viable helium project concentrations begin at 0.3%. I'm delighted to be joined by the co-founder, president and chief executive, Tom Abraham James. So Tom, before we talk about the company's capabilities and why an AIM IPO, why is helium the commodity that we all rely on?
Well, hello, and what a great day. So it's wonderful for the company to be listed on AIM, so we're all ecstatic here at Pulsar. But helium is the commodity that really we don't know that much about. The first thing everyone thinks about is there's helium balloons, but really it is something that's integral to the technology that we use, so computers, telephones, etc. So it really is something which is in increasingly short supply. Has been neglected, I think it's fair to say, and people haven't really been looking for it. So all of a sudden, with the increased demand, with the pricing of it, it spurred this new industry that Pulsar is now part of.
So you say short supply there. Can you quantify the size of the deficit for market requirements now and in the immediate future?
Yeah, so it started about 12 years ago that the world noticed that there was a shortage of helium. So we were used to having bountiful supply of it, mostly coming from the United States. There's a very large reserve there. And what happened is that reserve has dwindled, and it seemed to be almost at the 11th hour, about a decade ago, that everyone noticed, oh, hang on, that we are running out of this. And its applications are increasing for technology. And so what we've seen now is over the past 12 years, it's quite funny, the industry has called it helium shortage 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you join them all together, it really is a protracted shortage, which has persisted now for over a decade. So supply imbalance has been in place for some time, and the exploration, the looking for primary helium projects, where it's not a byproduct, which is what Pulsar is all about. Finding primary occurrences. It's this new industry, and so it's taking a fresh look at how to explore for gas, but getting rid of that natural gas mindset. And thinking purely about helium. And so with the shortage, the price has now gone up significantly. It's worth something north of 150 to 200 times the value of natural gas. And for good reason too. It's difficult to look for, but certainly my team and I, we think we're onto something very good with our projects and hope to contribute to shortening that deficit.
Okay, so the market obviously needs your projects to come online. So talk us through your projects.
Yeah, so our projects are, so we have two projects. So the flagship is called the Topaz project in Minnesota in the USA. And then we have the Tunu project in Greenland. With these, they're both primary helium occurrences, where helium would be the primary economic driver, not associated with any hydrocarbon production. We're the first mover in each location as well. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, taking that new mindset of looking for gas reservoirs that are biased towards helium. So for that reason, in the past, they hadn't been looked at because there wasn't that natural gas component. But from a helium component, they truly do look, incredible, particularly Topaz with that extremely high helium concentration. And so for concentration is important a bit, if you think about natural gas, okay, you've got natural gas. You don't talk about how much is in the raw gas. But with helium, it's a bit like, say, metal exploration, where grade is important. You don't find 100% helium in the ground, but 14.5% helium is extremely high. And so we're off to a great start.
So is the plan to discover, develop and underline, produce?
That's certainly the way that we're looking at it. So we've got a very capable team. We've been involved in the helium industry now for quite some time. And so where the stage that we're at now with our projects is that the helium has been identified. It's now seeing, okay, how large is the reservoir and what kind of potential production scenarios are out there. And we're certainly looking at going all the way through the value chain as a company. So our ultimate objective is to become that independent producer of helium.
Okay, funding. Talk me through the funding requirements for the projects.
Okay, well, we just today with the listing on AIM, so with that we raised £5 million. So for the work program that we have coming up, so that's funded. And really that's all focused on the project in Minnesota, Topaz. So there'll be a drill program which is commencing very soon in the next couple of months. And then really we get the results from that one, and then we'll be doing an economic assessment. We'll be talking about the project economics really in the public domain for the first time, a resource update. And on the back of that, then that will be the big question saying, okay, are we now at the stage where we can start to contemplate that production scenario? With the production, really then we would look to go and seek offtake agreements for the gas. And then certainly for the majority of financing for a plant, it is something that we'd be looking at a debt facility for rather than the future dilutive equity capital raising.
Okay, so multiple funding vehicles there. So access to the capital markets came in the form of the TSXV listing last year and now AIM. The UK junior stock market, however, has been browbeaten of late. So why did you decide now is the right time to list in London?
For us, it is the right time because there's certainly, in terms of institutional investment that's there, in terms of, I guess, the London market and the UK in general, its experience with going and backing early stage exploration, to go to frontiers, to go and contemplate something new. That appetite has always been there and maintains it. Certainly from let's say from an energy point of view, and whilst we're not an energy stock, we are akin to it in terms of its exploration development. It's very well understood by the UK market, but also industrial gases as a sector in the London Stock Exchange. They certainly are doing quite well at the moment, say compared to the broader market as a whole. But this particular sector has really captured the imagination, and I think that certainly the level of sophistication, understanding how important helium is, and certainly with my background and my colleagues, most of us being British as well, it's certainly a jurisdiction that we know very well. And we've been encouraged to list in the UK so that UK investors do have the opportunity to be able to invest. So really with Canada, the USA, and now the UK, giving everybody the opportunity to be able to participate in our company. And by the looks of things, it's been very well received in the UK. So very happy.
I like that word you used there, sophistication. So let's hold on to that word because taking all your listings into consideration, how would you describe your shareholder register? Is it sophisticated?
It is sophisticated. I might be biased because the majority of the shares are held by my colleagues and I. So it's a very management-owned company to a large degree. So with myself and our chairman, a major shareholder who's also on the board. We held and our technical manager, who's also our co-founder. We hold a very large position in the company. So we're also escrowed for a considerable period of time, multiple years. And really we consented to that because we believe in this company. We believe that this is something that really is quite unique, and we want to be a part of and see it through for the long term. And then our other shareholders that we have there, there's nobody with a vested interest in the product at the moment in the share registry, and that actually is something that is almost by design. So at this early stage, maintain our independence as a company, and to reach that objective of ultimately becoming an independent producer. That's being preserved. But otherwise, we have certainly retail, and then we have institutions as well that have participated. So I think we've got certainly a share registry that I'm very proud of.
But who else believes? Because what kind of support are you receiving from local government, such as the Minnesota politicians that have been mentioned in previous investor releases?
Yeah, that's something that we've a relationship with the local community and then the broader state of Minnesota is something that we've been really working on with a lot of effort. We appreciate that gas is something new to the state, and even more so helium, which is something which is not terribly known, not just in Minnesota, but globally. It is a new industry. So we've worked very hard to be very transparent. We've certainly invited people to our site and to look around. We've had a huge amount of interest, and so we've had every spectrum of the local communities come and visit. And I think that transparency and then also, with the potential to be able to diversify the local economy there has certain, and for a commodity which is really crucial. So the USA is the world's largest user of helium. So in terms of Minnesota itself, you've got industry there that uses helium, so semiconductor manufacturing in particular. And then further south in the States, you've got the big space launch as well. And so for all these reasons, it's a strategic resource. It's a resource with a very low footprint, coupled with our transparency and keeping everybody in the loop with what we're doing. I think that it's paid dividends. So we've got a very good relationship with everybody there. So it's great.
So looking at the decision makers on the team, aside from them being sophisticated, who are they? And what experience or network do they have?
Yeah, look, so we've got a very good team. So we've got, we'll start with our chairman, Neil Herbert. So he's been experienced in global capital markets for decades now. And he's specialized in the more bespoke commodities as well, and helium would fit into that. So he certainly brings that great financial experience. We have John Ferrier, so he's the former CEO of Gulf Keystone Petroleum, so producing assets as well, so brings that production experience. My co-founder, Josh Blewett, so he's our technical manager, so certainly from every aspect of looking for these new helium occurrences and how to develop them, great experience there. Michael Sturdy, our operations manager, so he's been drilling wells for as long as he can remember. We've got a diversified team there with the key skill sets across the board, and it's a very strong team.
So, Tom, how does Pulsar Helium incorporate ESG principles into its operations, particularly in sustainably sourcing helium?
Well, really, it comes down to the very root of our business, which is looking at helium that is not associated with hydrocarbon production. So what we've been presented with here, and you can't say this for many commodities, but there's a real opportunity to shake up a commodity to be able to start producing helium without those hydrocarbons, and that certainly will have a very positive impact. But also with the production facility, the only consumable that would be there is electricity. So in Minnesota, so we're very close to grid power. Most of that comes from hydro as well. So we have a real opportunity to make this as clean an operation as is possible, and to go some way to decarbonizing a commodity.
Just a couple more questions, if I may, Tom. Staying with ESG, what is Pulsar Scholars about and who can apply?
Yeah, Pulsar Scholars is a great initiative that was started up by my colleague Mark Farrington, and really it's just about the values of Pulsar again. So it really is an effort to go out and support people who've got initiatives that agree with our principles, which is that decarbonization, future technology. So every quarter for Pulsar Scholars, what we do is we award a bursary to a student who's in their final year of study, and so that study has to be STEM related. And so we review all the different ideas that are out there. We have a panel and we discuss it, and then we support that student financially, but then also visually to get their idea out there and make introductions to support these people with fantastic ideas who are at a very early stage and perhaps need that extra voice to help amplify the great idea that they've got.
We like great ideas, so which brings me to my final question. Looking at the business plan, what's the near-term focus, and how do you intend to grow the company and those shareholder returns?
Good question. We've really only been, we've just listed on AIM. In Canada, we've only been a listed entity for a year. And already we've been moving extremely quickly. So within that time frame for our project in Minnesota, we've gone off, we drilled an appraisal well. That was successful. We've had gas flow to surface, extremely high concentration. A resource estimate came out just recently. Now it's all about building on that success. So just in the next couple of months, we're going out and we're going back with the drill rig on site. We're deepening the well that we drilled by roughly 500 meters to go through the entire depth of the reservoir. That, we anticipate should, all be successful, have quite a material impact on what we've got. And then to go out and then to drill some additional wells early in the new year, go off and then do a resource update and that economic assessment. And really that economic assessment is going to be telling us, all right, are we at a stage where production is possible? And if so, then go down that path with vigor. So certainly the demand for product is there. We have now, after listing on AIM, we've got a treasury which supports our operations. And really we want to be a company that moves forward rapidly, but whilst also certainly professionally, but to move it forward because we are onto something that we think is quite exceptional. And really, with that high concentration of helium, we're not talking about a well development field which consists of 50, 100 wells. With that high concentration, the amount of volume that helium is used by the global industry, it doesn't take that much actually to get to a point where production may be possible. So I think that for anyone out there who's keeping an eye on us, the news is going to be quite thick and fast.
And with vigour. Thank you so much. I know today is a pretty hectic day for you, Tom. Tom Abraham James, co-founder, president and chief executive of Pulsar Helium. Thank you very much indeed.